Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. We're going to be doing episode 2 of my Twisted Retreat series, reading all the books that I had from 2025. What books are we going to be reading for this vlog? I have 2 books that I have selected and I'm so excited for. We're going to be reading Blood Slaves by Marcus Redmond. I have actually started this one already, so I'll give you my update in a little bit, but we're going to be reading Blood Slaves. So in this book, it is set in Carolina province in 1710, obviously during slavery, and we're following Leigh and Gerda and their unborn child as they navigate being slaves at this plantation that is owned by their master, Big Jim. And Willie is tired of living the life that they are forced to live, and he wants to be free and he wants to have liberation. And liberation comes in a very interesting form, in the form of a vampire named Rafazi, I believe is how you say it. So very interesting story, very interesting concept. Excited to read this one. This is the book from July 2025. And then this is Hush My Darling. This is by Leigh Kenny. And we're following our character named Megan as she goes on a road trip around Ireland. She, on her travel, gets stranded on a mountain and a family comes to her rescue. And basically, we're just trying to figure out, I'm not really sure what else happens from here, but also ultimately we're trying to determine if this family finding her was a good thing or a bad thing. Is it luck, or is she gonna be in trouble? So this one sounds so interesting and so good. So I'm very excited to read this one. So yeah, Hush My Darling. And then I wanted to open my March 2026 box with you guys to show you what I got from Twisted Retreat. And of course it's beautiful. There always are. This is the March 2026 book for Twisted Retreat. It is The Works of Vermin. This is by Kieran Innes, I believe. I've actually heard of this book because Books and Lala was gonna read this for a bug vlog, and she might have read it for a bug vlog. I don't remember, but very interesting. The synopsis sounds, it doesn't really make sense, if I'm being honest with you. The synopsis doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but essentially what we're doing is there's this city that they have this lavish life above, and then below they have people who do extermination, and they exterminate creatures and bugs and things. And we follow a specific character who has no other choice but to do this to save the life of one of his family members. And so he ends up joining the extermination team and runs into I think it's a centipede or a worm or something. Yeah, a centipede, the size of a dragon with deadly venom and a ravenous taste for artwork. And that's the parts where it's weird. Like the way that they talk about the creatures is very odd. So I don't know, sounds weird. Sounds like weird girl book reading, which makes sense why it would have been a book Kayla was gonna read. This is our March 2026 book. So for my update on Blood Slaves, I am on page 39, so not too far in, about 10% of the way into the book. And essentially the premise is very similar to what the synopsis is, but we do have more background that we learn about the vampire that we're gonna be dealing with Willie. And the vampire is from like Africa side of the world. And I don't know that he was like from Africa per se, because he's been around for a long time, but essentially he gets created by another vampire. She comes to tell him like, hey, we gotta go into hiding and we gotta be careful because all of us are being killed by some plague that's coming, and you have to be careful. You can't drink human blood. You need to only eat animals. And so he doesn't seem like he warns anyone. He's very much just worried about himself. So he runs around for a while, not really telling anyone, hiding himself, trying to pass himself off as human, spending his time eating rats and bugs mostly. And He ends up getting captured during a slave trade. He's captured because he's so weak that he can't actually fight back and he can't actually run away, but he's also scared to try to run away from them, for them recognizing what he is and then them trying to hunt him down. So he's just trying to stay under the radar. And when they capture him, he speaks their language and they're like, how do you speak our language? And he's like, I've traveled. And they're like, okay, well, you're gonna travel some more. And then it jump cuts from them chaining up our vampire to us meeting a character named Willie. And Willie is a slave on a plantation ran by Big Jim. Y'all, first of all, this book is done well because I'm already like, this is disgusting and I hate it, right? But we follow Big Jim at a point where he's like got his son with him and he's teaching his son like what the value of their lives are and their property and how slaves, they own them, and if a slave runs away, that's stealing because they're property. And it's like, it's the whole shebang, the things we all know about slavery. But we watch Willie try to run away with a fellow slave. I believe his name was Charlie, and Charlie doesn't make it. Charlie gets ran down by bloodhounds and they kill him in the woods. But they don't kill Willie because the overseer was like, told the plantation owner that, hey, Willie is a great slave and you shouldn't kill him. He does a lot of good work. And so the owner's like, okay, well then we won't kill him, but we're gonna, like, we've got to teach him a lesson. And so basically once they capture him, they take him back and they beat the shit out of him. They torture him and all of the things. And then he finds out that the woman that he has been bunking with, essentially, that they met at this plantation, she's pregnant. And it's his baby. And at first he's really excited, but then obviously he just came back from being beaten from trying to run away. And so now he's obviously reflecting, like, he's excited in the moment because like he's gonna have a kid, but then recognition happens of like, this is where I am and this is what just happened to me and I can't have a kid in this. That's where I've left off, basically. Again, very good so far. The descriptions are really good. I believe that we have seen Willie kind of see the vampire potentially, but they have not engaged, and I think they're about to in this chapter. So yeah, I'm very interested to see what ends up happening, because I know from the synopsis on the back that like that Willie ends up taking blood from the vampire to become a vampire himself, and is trying to decide if he wants to just take that power and run away with it, or if he's going to liberate everyone and try and raise up an army against the white slave owners. So very interesting premise. At the beginning, there is an introduction by Marcus Reed where he is talking about like the creation of this story and how he was writing a book in 2020 about vampires, black vampires. And then George Floyd murder happened, and it obviously impacted a lot of people. And he has an interesting perspective on it. He said he suddenly felt stunted. I got lost in the news footage, the villainous video of him dying, the police officer's hands stuffed in his pockets with sunglasses on his forehead, casual as you please. Then came the protests, the outrage that drove people from their homes and multitudes to decry the senseless murder of a black man by the police in the middle of a pandemic, when both the science and medical communities were begging us to stay home to stop the spread. I was outraged, too, by the outrage. George Floyd's murder was tragic, yes, but by no means a new or unique occurrence. Countless black men and women have had their lives snuffed out by police officers who then faced little to no consequences. It happened while a black man was in the Oval Office. It happened during civil rights, and it's been happening since the era of slavery in America. In fact, modern law enforcement has its roots in slave patrol, which most people should know. I would be surprised if you didn't know that. Founded in South Carolina in 1704, its purpose was to empower the white population by organizing groups of armed men to monitor the movement of enslaved black people, especially those who escaped or were viewed as defiant, and enforce discipline. In other words, hunt down black people. So in 2020, 401 years after the first enslaved Africans were brought to the shores by the colonists, yet another black man was murdered by police. But all of the indignation felt disingenuous. People were fed up with wearing masks, and this man's murder proved the perfect righteous excuse to finally get out of the house. It all made me feel as though no one thought of George Floyd as a person, just a reason to do or say whatever it was they felt like doing or saying. That reminded me of all the times I'd felt less than a person because my skin was different than the people I was dealing with, the degrading auditions that I went to as an actor for roles labeled Thug Number 4 when I had worked for years meticulously to hone my craft. And then he talks about a interaction that he had with some police officers himself and how he had to act like a good boy to not get in more trouble. So I abandoned the vampire story I was writing and embarked on a new and very different one. 44 days after the murder, I started writing Blood Slaves. No notes, no outline, just raw, furious words. Each one I wrote gave me my power back, made me feel like a whole person again, worthy. 44 days later, I had finished my first draft. Now we're here. So yeah, I think it's an interesting idea that this was written out of the frustration of George Floyd and using that anger to create some kind of art and memoriam in a way, but also to show the power of Black people and not to only show the death and destruction of Black people. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. Again, I'm very excited and interested to read this and see what I can glean from it, if there's any more critical thoughts that I might have on it based on that introduction that the author writes in the book. And also, like, is it a good vampire story? Like, so far it seems okay. Like, there's nothing crazy that's happened yet other than like getting told about the history of the vampires, and specifically the history of the vampire that we're going to meet. I'm interested to see how this goes, but that's my update for now. It is 9:30 on Tuesday. I have to have this vlog up on Sunday. I just posted my 2026 new releases vlog today. It's obviously late. It was supposed to go up on Sunday, but you know, things happen. I've been sick, as you can still hear. So if you haven't watched that video, definitely go watch it. I highly recommend it. I made it, but you know, I thought it was good. So yeah, I'm excited to get into both of these books and get these read in the next few days. Hush My Darling is a shorter book than Blood Slaves, but I also have Blood Slaves on audio. So like I said, gonna pretty much blow through that one pretty quickly in my opinion. Hopefully this video, we find 2 5-star Twisted Retreat books so that one, I can keep my subscription because I do want to keep it because I want a subscription. I specifically subscribed to Twisted Retreat because I wanted a horror box subscription. I didn't want anything that was going to be fantasy or mix of random different things. I specifically wanted a book box that's specifically made for horror. And I like that the horror that they send us is not like super popular horror books. Like it is more like indie debut horror. So I'm excited. I'm hoping that both of these books will be a win. Keep your fingers crossed for me. That's enough rambling. I need to go. My camera is dying, so I will see y'all in the morning with an update on Blood Slaves. Hello, welcome back. It is the next day. Y'all, I read a lot. I got really into this book. It is going well. I'm still reading Blood Slaves. I am almost 50% of the way through. This is how much I've read already, so we're doing pretty good, y'all. I'm pretty impressed. I'm on chapter 18 now. A lot has happened outside of what's on the synopsis. Yeah, the synopsis tells you, I feel like the synopsis tells you the whole story without all the detail. But essentially, Willie ends up, so much happens to poor Willie. A lot of things happen to poor Willie. He runs into our vampire from last we spoke. He does run into the vampire and they do meet and have conversation. And he at first doesn't believe the guy when he says that he's this, I believe he calls it Ramongan. I believe. He doesn't believe him when he tells him basically that he's a vampire from this tribe, because Willie remembers things from his time when he was still in Africa, and he's only been in Carolina for, I think he said 8 years, 8 to 10 years, something like that. So he remembers the ghost stories that they would tell about trying to keep kids in line, that sort of thing. Like, it was one of those kind of like moral stories of like, behave or someone's gonna get you, right? So that's what he believed that it was. And then Rafazi basically tells him, yeah, it's not a ghost story, it's true. And he's like, I don't believe you, like, you're pulling my leg. The reason he finds this out is because he forced to work with Rafazi at one point as a punishment, and he's working with him, and that I choose to do this work because basically what he's doing is he's dumping shit into a hole, and everybody calls him Shit Boy, which is, there's so much there. Either way, he's like, why would you want to do this? And he was like, because I get to be alone. People leave me alone. So he's supposed to be helping him. Willie's doing the work and realizes that Rafazi's disappeared. Like, he's been behind the barn for a very long time. So he goes to find him. And when he goes into the barn, he notices like the hay is like moving around a lot. So he goes in to check on it and just see what the heck's going on. And that's where he finds Rafazi with like bright red eyes, holding a dead rat in his hand. And he's like, what the heck is going on here? And he's like, well, I didn't want you to know, but you found out anyway. And so he just like goes back to doing what he was doing. And that's what he tells him, like, this is who I am. And he was like, you're full of crap. And the only reason Willie even believes him is because he transitions in front of Willie's face, and Willie's like, oh my gosh. And he ends up giving Rafazi some of his blood to help Rafazi like gain some strength, because he's been living off of animals. And when he does this, Rafazi is basically like, there's something special about your blood, like something special in your blood. I don't know what it is, but there's something special in your blood. And that's basically their interaction. After that, Willie goes back home. He's hanging out with Gertie. They're having their own good old little sexy time. And then someone comes in and is like, the overseers are coming. Like, they're coming into the camp. And it's nighttime. He goes outside and he notices that the overseers are all drunk. And he's like, oh no, like, everybody get inside, hurry up, like, trying to stay out of the way, basically. And he's trying to help keep people away from them so that they will like get bored and leave. That doesn't happen. The owner, Big Jim, is assaulting a biracial slave in his home. And she's basically just like she's not into it for obvious reasons. She's just like not participating. She's not fighting back, and she's not enjoying it, right? And so because of that, Big Jim is like frustrated with her and he's annoyed by her. So he leaves. So while the overseers are there at the camp harassing everybody, they basically decide that they're about to start stealing girls and take them into the breeding house, because apparently Big Jim also rapes his slaves to create more slaves so that he can sell them for money. And yeah, so they come in, they try to steal these girls, and then a blur comes into the picture and the girl disappears. And the overseer's like, what the heck? And so he tries to go find a different girl, and he goes up to her, and then she disappears. And he's like, what the heck was that? What is going on? And basically Big Jim comes in and he's like, where's your woman? To Willie. And he's like, I don't have a woman. What are you talking about? He's like, yes, you do. And they find Gertie and they bring her. From there, it just goes downhill. He assaults Gertie and they make Willie watch while he does it. They start to assault another girl as well. She fights back, so she gets knocked out. And Rafazi tries to come in and help by like snatching the girls really quick and running away. He's able to snatch the girl who's knocked out and hide her back in the camp. But when he comes back to get Gertie, he's not able to move as fast as he was. And so they end up trying to hit him, but when they try to hit him, they actually end up hitting Gertie, and she flings out of his arms and he gets caught. And that's basically where the story really starts. That's where all of the like vampire lore of it all really starts happening, and people start realizing, specifically Willie realizes the power that is there coming from Rafazi and what they could use that power for. Gertie has sense, and Gertie's like, why would you want to work with this man? He's got all this power, and he's also a slave. Like, he's not any better than us. Like, how did he get here? And there's also something interesting, and it seems like there might be some kind of play on like siring people, where if you sire, like if you create another vampire, that it has some kind of connection to you. And so Rafazi is basically like, I will turn Willie into one of me, but Willie's gonna turn everybody else. I'm not gonna do it. Willie's gonna do it. And it makes me really question, like, is there something bad that happens if he were to sire people? Like, is that gonna have some kind of effect on him if he was to sire people? Yeah, that's pretty much all I'm gonna give away. That's basically the synopsis on the back of the book anyway. But yeah, I'm really liking this. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought. It is giving very yuck vibes a lot of the time because it's the abuse of people. It's the abuse of bodies, and not just any bodies, but brown bodies. And there's like a scene in here with Big Jim's little kid and one of the slaves, and that's just gross and weird. There's also a scene in here where they have company come over, and the company's basically like, they're all having conversation about how slaves are basically animals and they don't matter and they don't have feelings and they're beasts, and like it's terrible. It's so bad. We also learn there's a character, Iris, that we follow that is the house slave that Jim is assaulting, that is biracial. And so everybody hates her because she's white, but she's not white, right? And she gets preferential treatment because she's being raped by the master. And they don't see it that way. They just see it as like, she doesn't have to do as much as us, and that's not fair. They don't like her. But there's basically like the slave manager, if you will. He's also black, but he's like one of the guys that that Big Jim like goes to. And I think his name was like Clarence, I believe. And there's a scene where we see that Clarence isn't any less susceptible to all of the things going on. The Big Jim is assaulting Iris, but Big Jim's wife is assaulting Clarence. Even though she talks shit on Iris and she beats Iris and she hates Iris because she knows what's going on between Iris and Big Jim. And now she can see that Iris is falling out of favor with Big Jim, so she's happy about it. But then we run into Iris. She hears some like noise in the house and she goes to inspect the noise. And that's when she finds that, I believe again, his name was Clarence, that he's tied to a chair and the wife is sexually assaulting him. And he's like literally tied to a chair, like he can't fight back. And Iris basically has like this recollection of like, oh, well, I understand now why he like berates me and why he tries to like control me and gets on to me so much. And it's because he doesn't have any control in his own life because this is happening to him. And so she decides that she's going to just allow him to treat her whatever way, which I also don't like. Yes, he's being assaulted and it's taking his manhood away from him, but that doesn't mean that you treat other people terribly, because she's also being assaulted by someone. And so it's just kind of like, I don't know, the rationalization there does not work for me, but that's how it's portrayed in the book. So anyway, I think that's all the spoiler things that I'm going to talk about. Again, I am enjoying it. I'm hoping that the ending is going to be just as amazing. So we'll see. Otherwise, I need to get back to work. I have meetings on meetings on meetings today, all the work and all the things. So we got to get going, but I hope you're enjoying it so far. And I'll give y'all an update more when I finish the book. I'll come back with my ratings and my final thoughts. Excuse my appearance. I look downright awful. It's okay though. We're here because I'm reading more of my book, right? And I know I told you I wouldn't come back until I was done. Humpst ever. I have found a bone to pick with this book. And the bone that I have to pick with this book is the convenience of the bad guys knowing what to do to the slaves. It's kind of spoilery, but if you know anything about vampire stories, like, you know where this is going. And so it's just so convenient that vampires show up and they just happen to have someone who knows exactly the answer. But the way that it's like explained, it's lazy. I'm so sorry, it's lazy. Basically, the way they explain it is that the woman that we meet at the very beginning who makes Rafazi a vampire runs into a person in the story and a while back, and she basically just tells him, like, here's how you kill me. And so he's like, if that's what she is, if that's what they are, then this is how we do it. Stop. What you're not about to do is convince me that it just so happens a man who met the only other vampire person in the world happens to be in the room for the people. Come on. That's too easy. Like, I would have appreciated if it was a story about, we've been told the story and it's been passed down, and my grandmother or my mom or whoever told me this story, and the stories that I heard, they told us that to get rid of them, we had to do this. Like, that would have been more believable. This explanation, that's too perfect. It's not believable. Like, not even with this being a fiction book, it's not believable at all. Like, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen like this. That irritated me. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. That irritated the heck out of me. Otherwise, I am enjoying the story. I'm enjoying the vampires. I'm enjoying learning about the vampires. That's the one thing that I think is really cool about this book, is learning about all the details and how they do what they do. Not just that they can do it, but how it works. I think that's so fascinating. I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. But yeah, that one little bit of like, here's what I know because I ran into this person years ago and I just happened to be here while this is happening with the person she sired. Come on, stop. I'm so sorry, but no. Anyway, I'm gonna go read this until I fall asleep, and I'll probably be finished with it in the morning. This is how far I am. So I'm on what page is this? Chapter 26, page 231, and the book is 374 pages. So I have a little over 100 pages left. I have like 140-ish pages left to read. So I can definitely finish this tonight, and I am going to finish this tonight. It is like 10 o'clock, 9:30, I don't know. It's late, but I'm going to try and finish this tonight because I'm really enjoying it. I'm eating this one up. I think we might have found one. Oh my gosh, I think we might have found one. I've only read 3 books for my Twisted Retreat series, and Red is loose because I DNF'd one of them because it was terrible. But I'm enjoying this one. I'm enjoying it so much. This is my early thoughts. I still have, things could change. Things could change in the last 100 pages. So we'll hold out hope, but I'm so excited. It's going so well. I'm really enjoying it. Other than that one piece, I'm really loving the story, and I'm loving learning just all the background histories of everything. This is a very good story. I'm very much enjoying it. And I'm hoping that my second book will be just as enjoyable. So fun. Okay, I'll be back in the morning. All right, hello, and it's time for my wrap up of Blood Slaves. I almost finished it last night, ended up finishing it this morning while I was working. This book was very, very good, and it has renewed my faith in the Twisted Retreat books. This went so well. I really enjoyed the like mythology of the vampires in this story, the way that they're described and their histories and all of that is like, it's so cool. I really, really enjoyed that. I enjoyed getting to see the like slaves become more than themselves and become able to liberate themselves, and like just the things that they went through and how all of that turned out. I loved the fantasy of it and like the way that the characters who were vampires, like how they were able to like have some kind of power and the way that their powers worked. Like it's just, it was so good. Obviously this is a setting, the setting is sad. The setting of this story and, you know, it being about slavery and about slaves and about someone owning people and about all of the things that slavery entails, right? It is a very depressing story to start. But once you get through the like depressing portions and get into the fantasy side of the vampiric world, it's so good. Like I can't help but have enjoyed it. Like I found myself smiling at certain parts and being excited at certain parts for a story that's supposed to be so dark and sad, but because it's about liberation, it's so much more than that. Y'all, this was such a good book. I am going to end up giving it 4.5 stars. It doesn't feel quite like a 5-star, and I think that's because of the sheer laziness of especially that one part where they explain how you kill the vampires and how they know how to do that. Like that whole part was just stupid. I'm so sorry, but that whole part really like took me out of the story and I couldn't help but be irritated by it. So that's one of my like negative feelings about it. And then otherwise, like it was great. Like it was good. It feels like there was just like something that it was missing. I can't put my finger on that. It just didn't feel 5-star, but it's 4.5, and that's pretty darn good. Like I'm very impressed with the story. I really enjoyed it. Would I read it again? I'm not 100% sure that I would. I don't know that I would reread it, but I enjoyed it. So if you are looking for a vampire story that is not your typical white vampire stories, this was pretty good, guys. I do recommend it. I do think people should read it. I think this is going to be hard for some people to read because of it talking about the slavery side of things. It's very descriptive. They use the N-word pretty much the whole gosh darn book. Like almost every other sentence, there's an N-word dropped. So if you're sensitive to those types of things, like that, you're not going to be the person for this book. But if you are someone who can see through those things and work your way through those heavier topics and those heavier histories, the story underneath it all is really, really good. The empowerment underneath it all is beautiful. Yeah, I just really loved it. I really did. So that's a wrap on Blood Slaves. And now we're moving on to Hush My Darling by Leigh Kenny. I'm hoping to get this finished tomorrow so that I can work on editing this video on Saturday and then have it up on Sunday. So we got today and tomorrow. I really think I can get through it because it's like, I don't know if y'all can see this very well or not, but like the like lines are very, like it's very spaced out. And I think that it's going to be a quick read, to be honest, but it is like 300 pages. Oh, no. It's 261 pages. So very, very short. Looks like it's going to be a quick run through because of all the page spacing. I feel like if this was like, if the spacing wasn't like it is, I feel like this would be probably, oh, and then there's like blank spots from pages. I definitely feel like this is like probably 150, 175 pages if it like was more condensed. So I think that we can get through this pretty quickly, but I'm very excited. I know I talked about the like premise of this at the beginning. So once I get into it and I start like seeing what what actually is going on, I'll come back with like a synopsis of the intro and let y'all know how I'm feeling about it at that point. This book was the February 2025 book. This would have been the third book technically that I got from Twisted Retreat. So we're going in order in that regard for this video. but obviously Blood Slaves was out of order with it being, I believe it was a June release. So we'll see, like, did the books and the like quality of them, the quality of the writing, the quality of the story, did that change as we get like deeper into the 2025 and they were finally finding their footing on what types of books that they were allowing or how that went. So interested to read this one, interested to see, is this a 5-star? I would love it to be a 5-star. I would love it to be a 5-star, but if it's not a 5-star, I would settle if it's a 4. If it's lower than a 4, I'm going to be irritated, because that means that the averages for these books is very low if we only have one 4.5 star. We have a full DNF in our last video. We had a 3.5, I think is what the average for the short story collection was. So we've got one 4.5, so we've gone up. Will this keep us at a higher level, or I'm just nervous about it. I'm very nervous, but very excited, super excited to read this one, and I will come back with an update later. All right, guys, update time on Hush My Darling. Oh my, this is intense. This started out very, very intense. First, I want to say there's a trigger warning, which I appreciate. I always love a trigger warning, but it was kind of like, oh, and then it was also hilarious. Content warning. Hush My Darling is an Irish horror thriller that delves into the depths of human resilience and human cruelty. This book contains scenes of horror that some readers may find upsetting. Fair. This part is what got me laughing. It also contains British English spelling and grammar, which some readers may also find upsetting. And I have to be honest with you guys, at first I was like, haha, that's so funny. And then I started reading a specific section and I don't know what this word is, and I almost looked it up and I was like, never mind, it's not that serious. Context clues, I could figure it out. But she's talking about her car and he says it's a bit banjaxed. Banjaxed? I've never heard that word in my entire life. He said a good hard rap of a fist should get it going again if it goes on the blink. On the blink, y'all. Ooh, that's so funny to me. But we get a prologue in this book, and the prologue is horrifying, okay? The prologue is absolutely disturbing and disgusting and terrifying, and it's sexual assault. There's not really a way around it. It's a sexual assault scene, and talking about the resilience of the person who is going through the assault. I think the way that it was written was very impactful, not only because of what's happening, right, but because of the way that the character is in her brain explaining to us her way of survival and how she's surviving the situation. It's so heartbreaking, but essentially she's talking about, it opens up with, she stared at peeling wallpaper. Once upon a time, it had probably been a lovely shade of something, but the color had long since bled from the paper, the delicate floral pattern in a multitude of brown shades barely discernible from the weeping damp patches. As the naked light bulb seesawed over her head, she forced herself to focus on the spot where the paper curled just so. That was where she had hidden herself. And she basically talks about how she's been in a prison in this place and how she can feel horrible, just horrible things. But she says a tear rolls down her cheek and she continues to concentrate on the tattered paper. Lauren is gone now. Nothing more than an intricately fashioned name on a delicate silver chain that rested within the walls of her prison. So she took off her necklace and stuck it behind the wallpaper in this wall as her, like, survival, her essence, her spirit, her being going on. And I just thought that was so, it was so heartbreaking, obviously, but it's also like she's trying to break herself off from what's happening to her, and like, this is not me anymore. Like, what's happening to me and the person I'm becoming because of what's happening to me is no longer me, but this like necklace and hidden in the wall that they can't touch, that they can't get to, that they can't manipulate and terrorize and assault and objectify and all of these things. That piece of me is hidden behind the wall. And that just, that was rough. That was a rough intro. But the way that this book goes is we get that intro and then we jump to a different character, presumably. And I say presumably because I don't think we ever learn our character's name in the beginning. Oh, just kidding. Her name is Megan. So then we jump to Megan's POV, and Megan is in this car. She's gone to Ireland. It seems that she's gone there because she's having some like family drama. Her biological father has died, and I think that there's just like some turmoil and some things that she's not dealt with or is avoiding, and thus she runs off to Ireland because that's where her father was born, and so she wants to be close to her father in that kind of way. So she runs off to Ireland to go on this like trip or whatever. Her family's like, we're not supporting you on this, like you going is your own business. And so she goes and she gets there and she's like, okay, I'm here now. And she buys a car, like a random broke down car to like get herself around places. And then she ends up getting lost. And that's kind of where the book really starts. She gets lost. She can't figure out where she's at. The car is all janky and messed up and the heater doesn't work and it's cold outside and she's in the mountains and she doesn't know where she's at and she can't read a map and she has no cell service. Like all of these things are happening. And while all that's happening, someone runs in front of her car. She veers off the road, hits a tree falls on her car. Her car doesn't work anymore. The person in the that ran in front of her car, she sees them again and they're just like running away from her. And she's like, well, I guess they're not a serial killer, so I'm just gonna like snuggle up in my car now and go to sleep. Girl, in the middle of the night in a country that you've never been in a car that doesn't work, no. But then she has a dream, she wakes up and the person who ran in front of her car is at her door. And he's like, come with me, hurry, like you need to come with me, I'm here to help you, like come with me. And she's like, who are you? Like she's freaking out obviously because she's like, where did he come from? He has on like this raincoat. She's just like, he looks suspicious, he's scaring me. So she sees that there's a car coming. So she basically just lays on her horn and the person like looks at her like terrified. And he's like, they're coming, like, come on, come with me. And he's like pulling on her door handle and the car gets closer. She turns to look at the car, turns back around and he's gone. And then we run into the people in the car. It's two gentlemen, it's a man and his son. And she's noticing that the man is very suspicious and weird and creepy like. And like at times he seems like happy, smiley. And then at other times he seems dead inside. And so we're like getting this dichotomy of like, her seeing that and not understanding. But then she sees his son and she's like, he's the most handsome man I've ever met in my life. He's the most handsome person I've ever seen in my life. And so by that, she just like decides that, oh, well, the old man who's creeping me out and who's getting too close to me and who's looking at me with dead eyes is totally fine because I just think about his son and how handsome his son is and how cute and wonderful his son looks. Girl, so they get her car out. She falls asleep in their vehicle, by the way. Also freaking weird. Who are you? She must have never had any kind of trauma from a man in her life for her to feel so comfortable sitting in this man's car. These two strangers that you do not know, you're in their vehicle. They hand her a water bottle when they first see her and she drinks it. You don't know these people. She drinks the water. They take her to their car. She gets in their car. He gives her some soup in a container. He pours out some soup in a cup for her to eat. She starts eating it. And there's a lot of focus on like the meat. So I'm suspicious about that. But she's like, I don't know what meat it is, but it's so good. It's so tender. And she's eating. And then then she like falls asleep in the car while they're trying to get her car out. She falls asleep in their back seat and she wakes up and the son is there. And she's like, oh, and he's like, I'm just here to help you out, like whatever. She's like, oh, okay. And then the old man gets in the car, the son gets in her car, they tow her car to their house. And they're like, okay, you just go inside. And she's like, huh? Like, I don't know you. And he's like, it's like, this is Ireland, this is how we are, just go in our house. And that's where I stopped. And if you don't think that any of that sounds suspicious to you and weird to you, girl, I'm not trying to victim blame her right now, but what in the world are you doing? What are we doing? Anyway, I'm excited to see where this goes. I will come back with an update later. I have to go to a meeting. I will talk to y'all in a little while. All right. I'm finally clocked out of work. So excited. This week has been crazy. I ended up working like 3 hours overtime this week, which is stupid because I don't get paid for it. It's very annoying. I don't typically do that, but I didn't have much of a choice this week, so, you know, it is what it is. But we're done with that. I'm off of work. I don't go back to work until Tuesday next week. Monday I have a dentist appointment, so I'm not excited about that, but I'm excited to be off for the next 3 days. I'm now about to jump into reading Hush My Darling, and I'm currently on sprints with Jordaline and Kayla. So excited. I've never been on a sprint for Jordaline, and I freaking love Jordaline. I've never been on a Jordaline reading sprint before, but I love her down. She's the coolest ever. If you're into horror, Jordaline is the one to follow. Truly, I just love her. She's also really into manhwa and anime, manga, that kind of stuff, but she's a very much like boy love coded. She's obsessed with it, and I love that for her. But I love Jordaline. If you're a horror lover, she is one to check out. If you aren't already subscribed, I highly recommend. All that to say, I'm going off mic now. I'm gonna be on sprints with Jordaline and Kayla until my therapy session at 5. I think I have therapy at 5. And then at that point I'll have to stop reading because obviously I can't read during therapy, but then after therapy I need to go get my daughter at my mom's house right now, and then I need to bring her home and give her a bath. We've got a busy night ahead of us. I'm exhausted. I'm low-key thinking about drinking a Red Bull right now. It's literally 3:30. Oh, it's my favorite time. It's 3:33. I love the number 3. If you don't know that about me, that's my favorite number, but it is 3:30. Is that way too late for a Red Bull? I have like little mini cans. I could get like a little can instead of like a big can. I don't know. We'll see. I'm probably gonna go do that. I actually am gonna do that. I need to eat too. That's probably also why I have a headache, because I haven't eaten since breakfast. And all I had for breakfast was oatmeal and a half a banana. That's all I've eaten all day other than some hot fries. I'm gonna get myself a snack, come back, get my Red Bull. I'm just gonna do it. I don't care. I don't care. Don't tell me. Also, I only like the flavored Red Bulls. I don't like the regular original flavor Red Bull. It's disgusting and it reminds me of alcohol. So I don't drink that one. But I love all the flavored ones, and that's what I have in the mini can. So I'm gonna go get one of those. I'm gonna get a snack, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna watch sprints with Kayla and Jordaline and read my book. Their sprint ends in 30 minutes, so hopefully I can get back and have like a little bit of time to read. I wanted to read this book during work today. We have like a thing at my job where we have like meetings in the middle of the day, we have meetings like almost all day on Fridays. It's like a company meeting, so we don't actually do like client work. That's not how that works though. We actually do end up doing client work, but whatever. So because of that, my whole day was just meetings. I've been in meetings since 8:45 this morning and didn't stop meetings until 3 o'clock. Like literally, not even like, I had to go to the bathroom during my meetings because I didn't have a break. Granted, only one of those was a client meeting, which was during the lunch hour. And so I didn't get to have lunch because I was on that call with him. And actually there was a meeting at that same time that I ended up having to join. I forgot about that. So like, I didn't have any time to eat. I didn't have time to even go pee, honestly. I forced it. I made myself go to the bathroom. Like, you got to. But it's been nonstop since 8:45. And I didn't get home until 8:30 because I had to take my daughter to her daycare this morning. I've just been going since 7:30 and I'm tired, y'all. I'm so tired. Anyway, I'm wasting time. I'm gonna go get my food, get my Red Bull, and we're gonna read. I'll be back. Boop, boop, boop. Hello. Well. Here's what happened. So here's what happened. Jordaline and Kayla are the most unhinged people together. Y'all, when I stopped recording my B-roll, I was planning to move my camera to a different area so that I get a different angle. And when I moved it, Kayla and Jordaline had stopped the sprint and were doing their like in between. And Jordaline set it for 15 minutes. So I was like, okay, cool. We'll have like a little 15-minute yip yap sesh, and then I'll go back to reading. And the yip yap session turned into, I think, like an hour or something, like 30 minutes, maybe more than, I honestly don't know. What I do know is once they started yapping, I ran out of time to read. So I didn't read, but what you saw in those clips, because after, I had to leave the sprint because I had to go to therapy. And after my therapy, they were still sprinting, but I came back on and they were like finishing, like it was the last sprint and it was like 5 seconds till that sprint was over. And then they were going to talk for like 10 minutes. They talked about wild things. I love them together. I love Jordaline and Kayla. Like, I think they're both so funny and weird and goofy, and I just love that. But yeah, I didn't get to read much. So I went to my parents' house and got my daughter, and we stayed there to eat dinner, and I'm back home now. She's asleep and she's in bed. It is now 9 o'clock. I have a raging headache, so I'm going to go take some, ibuprofen. Yeah. And then I'm going to get in bed and we're going to read until I fall asleep. That's my plan. I literally didn't get much further in the book. So what I can tell you is where I left off in my last update was she was at these people's house. Where I'm at now, we're still in these people's house, but where she's having dinner with them and they're talking about the person that she almost hit with her car. And that's pretty much all that's happened, other than obviously we met another son and the wife, but we feel weird about the wife too. She's apparently shifty and she's also giving us dead eye stares, but she mentions like she's giving her whiplash with the way that she's like, she seems upset or frustrated or angry or whatever, dead behind the eyes kind of thing. And then she'll smile at her and ask her a bunch of questions. So I don't know what's about to happen, y'all. This book is making me have so much anxiety, really, to be honest, because this girl's not like any other girl. You can't convince me that a normal person would be doing what she's doing. You can't convince me that a normal girl in a foreign country would be like, yeah, no, it's super chill to go in these strangers' houses when they're giving me the ick, when they're giving me weird, creepy vibes. No. I don't care how hot their son is. I'm so sorry, but no. You're not going to convince me that's real. So it's making me like, I don't know if anxious is the right word, but I'm just like uncomfortable. I'm very uncomfortable because I'm like, you're like clearly walking into a very suspicious situation like it's nothing, like it's all rainbows and sunshine. So I'm very like, every time she eats something or drinks anything, I'm like, oh, it's poison, or oh, it's gonna make her pass out and she's never gonna wake up again, or she's gonna wake up in chains. Like I'm anticipating the worst. So it's just, I'm like, every time she mentions like someone's looking at her weird or staring at her weird, I'm like, girl, that's on you. That's your fault, because why are you in this house with these people you don't know? You don't know them. Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading. I hope that I can finish tomorrow, but we'll see. I don't know. These last 2 weeks have been not good. I'm off my game. I was supposed to have uploaded my book vlog, my shopping book vlog, and I missed that, and I never edited it. I gave up on the other video that I had for my like video essay. I pretty much have decided I'm not gonna post it. It's just gonna be a wash of a video. I'm almost 100% sure I'm not gonna post it. So I need to edit the book vlog, but that's not happening before I edit this video. The used bookstore vlog is just gonna have to be delayed. But that's okay. I'll post it when I post it, yo. It's gonna be all right. The last 2 weeks have been crazy. Work is crazy and it's killing me and it's stressing me out. And I think that's also got something to do with it. But on top of that, having been sick during all of that, like I'm just off. My game is off and it's okay. I'll get back to it. I've already picked out my books for April and I'm excited about it. So we'll get back into it and it'll be all right. I'm contemplating cutting back on how many videos I post a week. I wanted to do 2 videos a week just to like prove to myself that I could do it for like 90 days. And for the most part I did. So I think what I'm probably going to do in April is I might cut back to like 6 videos a month instead of 8 videos in a month. Just because it's a lot. It's a whole lot. And it's just, life is amping up in a stressful way, specifically with work. So I think until that like calms down, I am going to have to like step back a little bit from how many videos I'm posting in a week, just because it's a lot. It's better to post more because of the algorithm, blah, blah, blah. But you know, this is more for me to have fun and to have joy and to feel like my own self and have my own thing and be my own person and not just being a mom or a wife or an employee. So I can make my own rules and I can do what I want. That's basically all I'm telling myself. So anyway, I'm going to go read. I'm going to stop yapping. I'm going to go read, take some medicine, go lay down. And I will see y'all in the morning with an update potentially, with as much as I can provide that's not too spoilery. And then hopefully I have a wrap up at the end of tomorrow. Tomorrow is my husband's mom's birthday, so we have that to do tomorrow. But otherwise, I don't have anything else planned for tomorrow. So again, I'm really hoping that I can just crack this book through by tomorrow so I can post this on Sunday. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Hello guys. So it is the end of the video because I have finished Hush My Darling. The twists and turns that this book took me on are the most insane. Truly, I thought I was getting one thing, I got something else, I got something else, I got something else. I don't know. First of all, as we talk through this, I'm going to be solidifying what my rating is because currently I don't know what I want to rate this book. So from the beginning, it starts out as a story about we start the book with a flashback, right? Talking about Lauren, the girl who's being essayed, and she hides her necklace in the wall. And then we flash forward to a girl named Megan being stranded in the woods and this family coming to try and help her get her car out and all of these things. And I will say the story that transpires, the whole like synopsis of this book is, will they, won't they? Are they here to hurt her or are they here to save her? And we're kind of going back and forth trying to discern what's happening. And I will say it does do that. I went back and forth trying to understand, wait, are they? Wait, are they? Wait, are they? Wait, are they? Like, so much back and forth. Finally, we solidify what's going on and we're hit with twist after twist after twist, dude. This was the twistiest book I've read in a long time. And I will say the twists caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting the twists that I got. I thought this was going to be a final girl story, and then it wasn't, and then it was, and then it wasn't. Like, it just, the twists and turns, I will say that one thing that is like the thing that gives me pause about this story is the unbelievability of our main character, Megan, and how she's just willing to ignore all of these things happening around her that are obvious red flags. They're obviously red flags. She's willing to ignore them because of some hot dude. And when the red flags are no longer allowed to be ignored, then it's too late, right? Like that's how it goes, right? And I was talking to my husband about this story. I was telling him what was going on, how the story was going, and all the little red flags. And he was like, what the heck? And I was like, okay, right? Like, I'm not tripping. I'm not trying to do like a victim blamey type of thing. And obviously this isn't a real book, so it's whatever. But like the way that this character just constantly keeps putting herself in worse and worse and worse and worse predicaments. And I'm like, girl, you really don't want to see what's right in front of your face, and that's crazy to me. So we get some twists, I do recommend this. If you can make it through the essay of it all, if you can get through that, and that's something that you're okay with reading within horror, this is a good book. I did enjoy it. Even though the beginning I was so infuriated. I was so frustrated with Megan. I'm just thinking, I literally just finished this book. I literally just finished it. The ending also didn't really love it because, again, I've told y'all this, I don't like an ending that's left undone. I hate that. I don't know if there's going to be a second book to this. I would love to look into it because if there is a second book, I need it. I need to know what happens next. But if there isn't, I hate it. That makes me so angry. It's left too in the air. And they try and they do try and wrap the story, right? But then something happens and we're just like, wait, what is going, like, wait, what? And that's just like the end of the story. And like, there's like a reveal and there's like news coverage of things, but we don't get explicit details of what the news coverage is and how things play out and what the actual like final resolution is. And that irritates the heck out of me also. So I don't know, Leigh, if you've got a second book, if you're working on a second to this, I hope that you are, because I would love to finish whatever this was. Y'all, this was the twistiest, turniest book. This is horror. This is a thriller. It is truly, it is an Irish horror thriller, just like it's described at the beginning. It's so good. I'm convincing myself of even a higher rating than I initially thought I was going to go with. I think, guys, I'm thinking 4.5 stars. Not 5, because 5's a feeling, and the way that this starts isn't giving 5 because of like just the things that I mentioned. The like, girl, what? No person is going to go through each and every one of these scenarios and then just be like, oh, like, now I figured it out. Like, so 4.5, I think that's what I'm settling on, because the twists and the turns, it twisted and it turned and it twisted some more and it turned some more. Girl, if you can sit through an essay horror novel about human resilience but human cruelty at the same time, this was good to me. This was good to me. I rather enjoyed this. So, Twisted Retreat Vlog, episode 2. We had 2 4.5 star books. I read 2 really good books. Am I renewing my hope? Is my hope renewed? I think it might be. I'm so excited. I'm so glad that this happened. I have not picked out the Twisted Retreat books for next month. I'm trying to decide if I want to go in order or if I just want to pick 2 that sound the most interesting to me. But we still have 9 books to get through. So we still have a ways to go, not including the catalog I'm now developing for 2026. I have 3 books already from 2026 that I haven't even started reading or looked at. So, you know, it is what it is, but this was a successful vlog, y'all. I'm so happy. I'm so glad I got to read 2 really good horror books. I feel like I've been craving horror because I've been dabbling in so many different areas of books. I've been reading so many different types of books lately. And so I feel like really satisfied. I don't know, I'm so excited. Anyway, thank you guys for coming along. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give it a like. If you're not subscribed, I would love to have you. Please feel free to subscribe. It's free and you can do it if you want. And if you've read either of these books, also let me know. I would be very interested to know your thoughts on them. And if you haven't read them, did I entice you to read either one of these? Because I think that you should. These are both so good. If you like vampire books, blood slaves, just know that you got to go through slavery. If you like suspenseful thriller, will they, won't they's, but horror, Hush My Darling. These both were so good. Just know you got to get through essay for this one. These were so good. Successful video. I'm gonna end it here. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I will see y'all again soon for another video. And until then, I hope you have a great day and a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.